How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm an avid herpetologist, and I finally found a second to sit down so I can get you guys some Machinedramon gameplay. Now, obviously, with the release of EX9 Machinedramon, has picked up a ton of viability in the meta, but this is a very hard deck to pilot. There are a lot of things you need to keep in mind, a lot of branching decision trees, and I've had a lot of people ask me different questions about how to more effectively pilot the deck, some decisions to make not only during deck building, but during gameplay. So hopefully, as we go through the games today, I'm going to be able to give you guys some insight on where my head is at from one turn to the next, and show you guys how I tend to navigate different matchups. Now, before we get into the games, of course, we'll talk about a few of the changes that I have made to the list since I posted my deck profile a couple of weeks ago. The changes are honestly fairly minimal. I'll go ahead and explain them. First and foremost, I actually cut one of my copies of Ultimate Connections. We are down to 3 copies. And to replace it, I've actually added a copy of one of the Blue Flare Metal Greymons. Now, I've very much been back and forth on whether or not I want to play this card, but there are a couple of reasons I've decided to include the card now. This actually brings our sideboard count up to a shocking number of 17. Basically, one of the things that I found in playtesting is the biggest holdup that I've had in a lot of my matchups is not being able to find Attack of the Heavy Mobile in time. Ahmed, unfortunately, is the only card in the deck that is like super vital that we cannot find off of Ukomon, so making sure we have access to that and can grab it and ultimately reuse it if we need to is important. So I'm going to be trying out a copy of this today. We'll see if it works, we'll see if it doesn't. Another change I've made is cutting my third unsuspended inheritable, which was Magnamon, for a third copy of Megadramon. Now, I did feel like trying out a copy of Black War Groundmon, but the more I tried it, and going back and forth between Machgao and Black War, I just found myself asking, why am I jumping through all of these hoops for a third unsuspend when I could just play a third copy of the best unsuspend that the deck has access to? Multiple copies of Megadramon is so fine to tuck into our stack at the same time. So I don't know why I didn't do this from the start, but I am going to be playing 3 copies of Megadramon instead of 2, plus either Machgao or Black War Groundmon. The last change that I've made has been cutting a copy of Chaosdramon X Antibody for a third copy of Chaosdramon. We want to be enabling OTK turns, especially with our 3 copies of Megadramon. Chaosdramon being able to tuck extra copies that are already in the stack, even if we are unable to detach them. Let's say that we have a rookie in play, so we cannot force the detach when we swing with our Machinedramon. We'll now have extra copies we can tuck with Chaosdramon. One of the big distinctions between Chaos and Chaos X is just that Chaosdramon only costs half the memory. 1 is half the number of 2. So I know that seems silly to say, but that does matter. If you're thinking about memory ratios, for instance, like our Analog Man, that gives us 1 memory if we have one of these in play. That's enough to go into Chaosdramon, but not necessarily Chaosdramon X. As long as we're able to get one of our security checks in with a rookie, and we only have 4 security to clear, Chaosdramon does the job just as well as Chaos X. So I'm not necessarily keeping it this way, but we're going to see how well it does today. So with the introductions out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and hop into some games. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so right off the bat, we can talk about things that we want to be looking for in our opening hand. Going second, this is a pretty solid open, speaking of which. Obviously going second, we want to be seeing copies of things like Tamers. Going first, the absolute best opening we can hope for is Ukomon and Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon. Either first or second, though, if we see a copy of Supreme Connection, keeping it pretty frequently as long as the rest of our hand looks at least somewhat decent. In this case, our hand does look pretty good. We've got our Machinedramon, 2 Cyborgs, and Attack of the Heavy Mobile already showing. Supreme Connection is a pretty great card going second, so we're definitely going to hold on to this, and we'll see how things go. Alright, we are up against Galaxy. Sky's literally the limit as far as what we can be seeing out of this. I have obviously no clue what their top end's going to look like, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Alright, that is probably our best case scenario here. So this is a setter. We are now able to drop our Supreme Connection, and we already have a Tamer ready to go, so couldn't have asked for a better top deck. And we get a rookie off the top. In this... Ooh. Okay, so I was going to just go ahead and grab the Huguru and drop the Chaos, but Chaosdramon is obviously important to have too. So what I'm thinking here is I actually do take the Huguru, we'll bend the Chaosdramon. We can set up the Analog Man memory setter first. That actually isn't a bad idea. That's going to help us make sure that we're not getting choked in these later turns. I usually try to get the memory setter set up as early as I can, and even though I don't necessarily want to be binning the Chaosdramon, in this case, I'm perfectly fine just letting it go. So let's go ahead and evolve Huguru. Set our analog. Perfect. Alright, and we'll see what our opponent does with their turn. Like I said, With Galaxy, you never really know what their top end's going to look like. I don't think too many cards that are going to be playing on the top end are going to be like super dangerous for us in Machinedramon, as long as we're holding back and biding our time properly. So we'll see how this goes.
No! God, please, no!
Well, I'm happy to see all of those cards get bottom decked. Being in black base with already a second Tamer showing, I'm not too worried about the Hexablow, but even still, definitely good to have the answer to that. So now we know we have to be wary of Paladin mode and Hexablow. Looks like he's got Gallon X2. Okay. So start of phase. We're not going to be able to trigger that immediately. Let's go ahead and get some pressure in on security. Try to reduce the burden that our Machinedramon is going to have. Let's see if we can find some cyborgs. Ooh, marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. Alright, we're going to take Megadramon. We're going to bin the die pen. We're going to arrange just like that. We also found another copy of Chaosdramon, so definitely happy to see that as well. Additionally, we do have a copy of Ultimate Connection in our hand. That's going to be an extra way to drop our cyborgs. So we have one in Trash, we're guaranteed one from Analog, we're guaranteed one from Ultimate Connection, and from Attack the Heavy Mobile. So we can get all four that we need into our Trash. If our opponent decides to get into some extra security checks, that means obviously we're going to potentially have extra cyborgs showing there. So all in all, liking where we're at. It will, of course, though, depend on what our opponent does with their turn here. Alright, that's fine. Get our draws. So the one thing we're really missing right now is an extra security check. If we can find an extra security check, like if they happen to have one, if they catch one in our security here without ending the game, and passes back to us, we pretty much win on that next turn. So we will see how this goes. We do have the memory resources right now that we don't have to rely on BT7 Metal Gray. We can use Metal Tyrannomon to hopefully de-digivolve them off of a potential Imperial Dramon Paladin mode ace here. So we've got a lot of good stuff showing right now. The question is, can we find that that extra security check inherit? Ooh, I mean, we're not exactly memory choking them when they've gone up to 9 memory for nothing here, but I mean, it is what it is. There is potential. Maybe they just like preemptively Paladin mode ace us. Guess we'll have to see. There, all right, there's the extra security check. So as long as they don't kill us, we should have a pretty comfortable OTK on our turn. Although we can't guarantee, if they do happen to have a Paladin mode, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot I guess we can do about it since this has immunity, which is kind of annoying. I mean, if they have it, they have it, is kind of where we're at right now. Like, we can't, unfortunately, really play around it. Actually, I guess we technically can play Blitz, use the on-attacking Machinedramon effect to then tuck Metal Tyranno while we're still at 2 memory on their side, de-digivolve them, then use our analogs to gain 2 back. I think that's the line here. It should work, and if we do that, we should still have access to that 1 memory that we need from Ultimate Connection. So we have 1, 2, 3... Oh, shoot. You know what? If I'd actually pitched for Analog Man, that could have worked, because I could have evolved Uko to lose the memory, and we would have had our margins exact. As it stands... Actually, I guess it still works, because they'll still be at 1. And as long as they're at 1, we'll be fine. So let's do this. Let's do Discard Metal Gray. We're going to go to 5. We're going to do Attack of the Heavy Mobile. Make sure we have the Megadramon in the trash. Okay. So this is going to pass them 1. We tuck the sources that we need. So we have 1, 2... Oh, shoot. Oh, the double Metal Gray is going to kill us here. Alright, maybe we can't play around it after all. Oh, shoot. The only other alternative is we can check top... Actually, we can do this. So we're going to save our 3 memory with Supreme Connection. Then we play Machinedramon off Supreme Connection. Okay, there we go. We're good. That was a lot of thought process, but no, we got there. We got there. We figured it out. So we'll take, we'll drop. Now when we play off Supreme Connection, instead of... Now we don't have to hard play it. We can just go ahead and play off of the Supreme Connection. Okay, we've... Complicated. I made that way harder than it needed to be, but we got there. So, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to order... Most important to least important here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to make sure Megadramon's on the bottom. Okay. So, if this works the way I think it should, we're going to Blitz first. Now that we're blitzing, we should be able to activate all of our others, or is it going to not allow us to use the Analog Man? That's going to be the question. It does still let us. Okay. Okay, that worked exactly how we needed it to. And now we can take the turn back. We can even tuck a source as an extra layer of protection, just in case. We also have a second Megadramon showing now, which means we don't actually have to worry about detaching the one that we already have. We can just attach a second one with Chaosdramon. So having those two just to make sure we get our checks. Perfect. Made sure that we played around the Paladin mode. Let's go ahead and detach our sources. Keep the 1 memory we needed for our Chaosdramon, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, now this is about as safe as we can possibly make it. Let's go ahead and just talk Oblivimon. I don't think there's like no conceivable way they can redirect our attack, but just in case. Okay. Sorry. That situation did a really good job of showing you just how complicated the different lines for this deck can be here. So we're going to go ahead and get our 2 checks. Yep, no Hammer Spark and Security, and that's going to be game. There we go. Alright, not bad for game 1, huh? Going first, I don't love this. I think we can definitely do better. Analog Man isn't bad, but we have like no follow-up. So yeah, let's go ahead and send this back. Still not a lot of follow-up, but at least we have a second analog. So we can potentially make something out of this. We'll see what we do. We'll see how we do. Alright, let's see what we're up against here. Imperial. Well, Imperial has historically been famously a terrible matchup for Machinedramon, but it's actually not as nearly as unwinnable as it used to be. As long as we can hit good pieces, we actually have a pretty solid matchup into Imperial. It all depends on who can find what faster. So we'll see what he opened, and we'll see what I wind up finding here. Right at the top of Davison Ken, not great. Do not want to see him spamming a bunch of those, but we'll see what else he's got. Okay, we'll pass him 1. Never mind, we'll pass him 2. Actually, perfectly happy to see the Uko off the top right now. Take a little bit. Another analog. Alright. Getting a little bit worried. So if we can find a Megadramon, that's obviously going to be good, but we still need Machinedramon and Attack of the Heavy Mobile to go with it. So we're still missing quite a few pieces here. Alright, found a fighter mode. We don't have to worry about fighter mode too much thanks to Metal Tyranno. Not sure what the holdup is here. Does he just not have the green level 4? The classic Imperial win condition of missing pieces? The big reason this matchup has gotten a lot easier for Machinedramon is we don't have to commit bodies to the board nearly as early. If we hold back, we can actually wait to commit our Machinedramon until we're ready to win, which makes their source stripping so much less valuable. So that, in case you're wondering, is why I think the matchup has gotten so much better. It is interesting he chose not to swing for the jamming check. He would have also gotten to draw a free card off of that, so I'm not sure why he didn't just go for it. I guess just not wanting to give us any resources. See what we find with the Yuko. We're sitting pretty at the moment. Not too worried about that. I am a little worried that this Wormmon goes back to his hand, but you know, it is what it is. Alright, well that solves the attack of the heavy mobile concern. Let's grab Andromon. You know what? I think it actually is... Yeah, let's actually clear his board this turn. I'm not even going to worry about putting another analog man down yet. Let's drop the Metal Greymon Alteris. Okay, good to see that. Let's go ahead and drop the Metal Tyranno. Okay. There's the Unsuspend. So we have a way to get Rush now. Let's get one check in here. See if we can get a draw. We can get a draw. Supreme Connection. We'll probably do that next turn. For now, I just want to get this down and wipe the board. Seems like he's stuck on pieces, so cutting him off of his searcher that he would be able to recycle is definitely the play we want to go with. Alright, doesn't have another searcher. Interesting. He doesn't have an end of turn DNA, so he cannot go into Paildramon this turn. We can clear the board again with Megadramon if he just plays another body out. Maybe we just go for the control game plan, honestly. It seems like it's working so far. Fair enough. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, well that will make sure that we can't clear it immediately off the board like we could have earlier. That is completely fine. Let's go ahead and drop Metal Greymon. Haguru. Okay. That. Alright, so if we find a Machinedramon off of the Supreme Connection, we can tuck the Alteris mode and wipe the stack. And if that happens, I honestly don't know how he comes back. We find the Machinedramon. Okay. Pick that up. Crush that. We also find Attack of the Heavy Mobile. We'll have that for next turn. Let's actually arrange like that. So we'll pass him 3 with Machine. I am probably fine passing him that. Yeah, I'm not too worried. It seems like he's in a pretty tough spot right now. Let's go ahead and just pass him the 3. And what's crazy is we can actually potentially end next turn. If he is not able to out this stack, we can basically tuck the Megadramon and just deal a metric ton of damage, potentially winning with lethal off of the Attack of the Heavy Mobile afterwards. So, if we can find another level 6. Well, a lot of moving pieces, but we have... It looks like we're probably going to just win off of that, honestly. If he is Digivolving in the back, had nothing to play off Davis Ken. Yeah, looking pretty good for us here. Perfect. Okay, that's what we needed. So, let's just go ahead and take the Machinedramon here. Hey, sweetheart. How was your day? It was good. Alright, so we're going to... Alright, so we're going to discard the Megadramon. We're going to discard the Metal Greymon. got lots and lots and lots of memory. I guess it doesn't really matter because we're going for lethal either way, but let's get us check in with the Uko first. Another Megadramon, oh my goodness. Yeah, we don't even need to bother with the attack of the heavy mobile, so we're going to tuck Megadramon. Make sure we have access to that unsuspend. Go into Chaosdramon. Chaosdramon will tuck the extra Megadramon. May as well tuck some extra stuff on top of there as well. Last check, and then we swing for lethal. And there we go. Alright, well, it's another day of filming. I tried my best to get some good gameplay footage just yesterday, but I kept getting people leaving early, non-games where the opponent was bricking, and I wasn't really able to respond to anything. Just a mess. So we're going to try again today to see if we can get a few more good games. Hopefully get some more actually engaging games that you guys can enjoy. Alright, let's see here. This is reasonable-ish. So we're getting a draw from Haguru, and we have the Analog Man to set and pass turn back with. We also get a draw for turn, so we basically just need some kind of follow-up in our top 3, which I think is feasible. I think we should be able to find something within there. Do we have a mirror here? Is this potentially Machinedramon? This could be a machine mirror. It could also be purple hybrid, to be fair, but I think this might be a machine mirror. There we go. Alright, well, we have 2 different analogs that we can drop. That's good, but we really need some cyborgs, so we'll see what we can find. It is a machine mirror. Interesting. Okay, so they are on classic purple. Can't say I blame them. Purple, as I've mentioned, is still a very viable list. I have considered going back to it a couple times, but I don't know. I've been enjoying my current black list. We'll see which list wins out here. He's currently opened much, much better than we have, so we'll see. Alright, I don't necessarily think I would have thrown the Uko right into security. Unless you're already, like, threatening something right off the bat, I don't necessarily know that I would have done that, unless he has nothing else to drop yet. Goodness. Alright. Fair enough. Alright, well, there's one cyborg. Let's see if we can get another one. Yes, come on. Okay, good. So we're not giving him any resources off of that. We'll just go ahead and drop both of our tamers. This is going to be an awkward game. We're currently missing a lot. We need a lot of cyborgs, and he currently has a much better dig open than we do, so good chance we may be losing this one. Ooh, okay. That can potentially bring us back into it here. We have an extra check. We got some DP buffs. Those are all good. Okay. Let's take the Alteris just because it does have an on-play from hand. We'll go ahead and bin Die Pen. We'll put back you, a you, and a you. Another Supreme Connection? If we get Attack of the Heavy Mobile, we're in a really good spot now. Spin, Metal Tyranno. Metal Tyranno is absolutely fantastic in the mirror, which also really helps our chances here. Since we can basically just de-digivolve his body and then go for lethal. Alright, well, he gets to find an Attack of the Heavy Mobile right off the bat. Must be nice. We're now in a position where he's probably just going to kill us next turn, because I don't think we have any feasible way to even potentially find Attack of the Heavy Mobile at this point before we lose. This is why I don't like playing Memory Boost in Machinedramon, by the way. I strongly recommend not doing that. Okay, let me think here. So It might actually behoove us to just play the Haguru and get the draws off of it. We've got a lot of memory resources currently showing. We just need Attack of the Heavy Mobile. Alternatively, we can try to play a Cyborg without passing turn, Digivolve Chaosdramon, and kind of force him to have the out. He currently doesn't have any Cyborg showing either. It actually might be better for us to just go ahead and be aggressive with our turn here. So let's do Ultimate Connection. Let's drop... We're probably going to want to play... Currently the cheapest one we have access to is Oblivi, so I think that's probably the go-to. Okay. You know, it might be cheaper to do that, but I do think it's probably better for us to play Alteris mode and clear a body. I don't want to give him... I basically want to make it as hard for him to end on his turn as possible, so we can get another turn. That's kind of where my head is at. We have an extra Supreme Connection that we can afford to drop. This is going to come down for not a whole lot of memory, honestly. We'll get 2 draws. Another analog. Doesn't really matter. If we're going into Chaosdramon, it doesn't really... I don't need to be tucking anything. You might as well hold back the resources. Another Supreme Connection. Alright, well, let's pop the one that is less detrimental to us. Do not want to give him his egg right away. Not that it really matters, but... Another Sayako. He must really be starved. Okay, well, that's definitely good for us. Definitely opens a window for us to be able to win next turn. So we're going to do Chaosdramon. Just going to tuck things from our trash. We have got 3 extra checks. Let's just force him to have the out. Let's just go ahead and let it go. It's fine. So now he gets to cycle through quite a lot of cards. This is why Purple Base is still so solid. Still only 2 Cyborgs showing. He had to... Oh, he must be flooded on his options. Maybe that's why. Very interesting. Yeah, if he doesn't have the out, I mean, the game just ends. That's definitely unfortunate. I've definitely come across that my fair share of times here. He's trying. He's digging. Found some more Cyborgs, but at 0, I don't think it really matters. We'll have to see. Definitely looking good for us right now, though. He's going for it. Okay, he's got the Megadramon. He's going to be able to de-digivolve us, which isn't ideal. If he has BT7 Metal Gray, he can go for lethal here, but it has to be exactly BT7 Metal Gray. Oh, he didn't even bother popping the memory boost. He would have needed to pop the memory boost first, so it does not look like he's going to be able to win here. Well, by de-digivolving us, he now allows us to go up into Machinedramon or another Chaosdramon, and I mean, it's just kind of game over from that point. Ooh, yeah, that's definitely not something he probably wanted to see there. Steal even more memory back. It was a noble effort, but that is probably going to be game here. One extra memory off of it, just in case they do have something like Ultimate Connection and Security. Don't want to run the risk of losing to that. Let's go ahead. We'll Digivolve into Machinedramon. So the way the line works, we're going to wait to do our on attacks. We're going to de-digivolve the stack with Metal Tyranno. That's going to be 4 checks. We have all of our extra security checks. Yep. Yep, there's all the pieces he was probably missing. I do genuinely sympathize. I know how frustrating that can be. Wow. If I wasn't ending, he would have had an absolutely phenomenal follow-up. GG's. This hand is awful. Definitely sending that back. Oh my gosh! Whoa! We just got rewarded so hard. Oh my gosh. Alright. Wow, we have got like multiple turns worth of setup plays that we can make now. Cyberdramon off the top too. Jeez. Looks like we're against Imperial. This is gonna be a crazy game. Ooh, not Imperial, Magnamon. Okay, okay, I'm here for this. This is cool. Very nice. Who do we want here? The Metal Tyranno is nice to have in our hand. We can get a draw with the Haguru and set up another rookie for next turn. So almost certainly he's going to be able to go into a Magnamon and probably out the Uko. So the question becomes, what do we want to do for our follow-up? I feel like we should be able to find another copy of Machinedramon, right? Yeah, we're building for an OTK here. Let's just take a dig piece for now. We're not in a rush at this exact moment in time. Let's slow roll a little bit. See what, oh, there we go. And all right, we'll see what we can find here. So let's go ahead and set up Analog Man. That'll make sure that we're able to hopefully appropriately choke our opponent on these future turns. We can keep passing them back to 1. Okay, doesn't immediately go for it. Huangkun, Blinding Ray, and Justmon GX? Oh, okay, I kind of see the vision here. So you can stack multiple copies of Magnamon that all have that trait. That's actually kind of smart. I'm here for that. That being said, it looks like they are probably in a rough spot, because passing back is not generally what you want to be doing right now. Let's take the extra Cyborg, give us some extra dig potential on future turns. Thank goodness we already have Attack of the Heavy Mobile. So we're really, right now, kind of just looking to find our copies of Machinedramon, and then maybe an extra security check if we're lucky. Okay. Try again. Another Supreme Connection. Okay, let's just go ahead and set up our Tamer. They're stocking some sources in the back, but again, like I'm not super worried about them like absolutely demolishing us in a single turn. I feel like we can afford to take our time with this. Yeah, he's still digging. He definitely got the consistency pieces. He just needs to actually find what he's looking for. Kind of similar situation to what we're in, but I think our explosive potential is much higher. I'm not going to drop anything. Let's just keep choking him. Okay, Dreamon in the back. We're training. Gets to grab a Davis. Okay, so he can now stop us from choking him, but this may also be the last setup turn that we need, depending on what we end up drawing. So what we're going to do, now we're going to start our dig process. Let's get a Megadramon down. Let's get Alteris down. Okay, so I think what we want to do here is just double Supreme Connection. Hopefully we can find a Machinedramon with one of these. Perfect. That sets us up flawlessly for next turn. We also have 2 extra checks. Yeah, I think all hell just kind of breaks loose after this one. Probably should have grabbed the Haguru here. Wasn't even thinking about it, but it honestly doesn't even matter all that much. Let's just go ahead and drop second Supreme Connection. Another Machinedramon. Oh my goodness. Yep, let's go ahead and grab that. Bend this Metal Gray. Good to go. Alright, well, he either kills us this turn or we kill him next turn. So we'll see how this goes. He's got lots of resources, so he might be able to do something. We'll see. Okay, he's going for the Magna X play. Now, we do not currently have Oblivimon, but we do have the sources to get above Magna X's DP, which is kind of nutty. So we know he has the Jessamon GX. Might actually be the play to just go ahead and play Machinedramon, not use the attack of the Heavy Mobile, and give him something else to actually fight against. Let me see what we have in trash. Do I even want to use the Analog Man, or do I want to save it? So, let me think here. I know we have an Uko on top, so let's draw so we can get to the Uko. Try to choke him down to 1. I should have put the Uko first. It's alright. So, we gain 1 back when we play the Analog, and that draws us the Uko. Okay, there's the line. Alright, let's go ahead and just make sure that we don't have multiple names. We do not. Okay. Yep, let's play Machinedramon. So we're going to go 1... Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to draw the Uko. We'll still choke him to 1. Let's put something into the sources just to give him a little extra protection. You know what? Let's actually put Andromon into the sources here. So the Andromon's DP reduction will actually last until the end of his turn, so he's not going to be able to armor purge safely. This should be a lasting minus 7k, which will definitely gum up his plan here. And a Chaosdramon for follow-up. Okay, we're still in a very good spot. I think there's very little likelihood he can, like, somehow mollywop us here, but again, we'll see. So our current setup gives us 3 redirects. We have double face-down sources for an extra layer of protection to not immediately get, source stripped by things like Jessamon GX. I don't hate the position we're in right now. I think he's really going for it. I'm assuming Jessamon GX, or has he got a Paladin? Oh, he's got a sneaky Paladin. Yep, that's definitely good. I did not think to play around that. Okay, believe it or not, still not necessarily out of the game here. We have still got our Uko and Raising on top of 3 Cyborgs and ways to drop them. He doesn't have any capacity to go any higher with this, so he'll get 2 checks, which is fine, but if he checked any other Cyborgs, it just gets worse for him again. Oh my gosh, Megadramon was such a good one to check too. Nothing to digivolve into, and he's passing us back with all of our memory. Oh, another analog. Oh man. Well, if we get to win through Paladin mode, I'd say that's pretty cool. Definitely can't say we've had a whole lot of ability to do that in the past, now can we? Yep, knew that Davis was coming down. That is totally fine. Alright, looks like we should have game here. Ideally, we would like to find another Cyborg off Uko. We do not. We do find another machine, but we don't really need that. That being said, we're also drawing another, what, 2 cards guaranteed here? No, 3 cards guaranteed. Oh, we should find another one. No problem. There we go. Perfect. Now, most ideally, I would like to not tuck that Cyberdramon. I do not want to give him the option of going back to grab a second Paladin mode. Like, that's kind of our worst case scenario. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Let's go ahead and evolve. There. Oh my gosh. Let's just go ahead and swing. One security check. We could run into Security Magnamon and get the Digivolve, but even if they do that, we can just slam Chaosdramon down, and it still shouldn't matter. So, let's go ahead and blitz. Of course, we blitz in the Pretty Machine. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sure, why not? Let's draw more cards. We can tuck, doesn't really matter, the Supreme Connection. We'll go ahead and, again, I don't think it really matters here. Let's just go ahead and tuck the extra security check that we just drew. Let's drop attack of the Heavy Mobile. And let's get in. And that's game. Go ahead and get her on suspend. And we'll swing for lethal. GG's. Okay. Going second, I actually don't hate this. We can use the Uko and hard play the Haguru, which is going to give us access to a bunch of new cards. We've got an extra check, Chaos X, Alteris. This is all right. We're going to give this a try. We'll see how this goes. It's not like the perfect going second open, but it's not the worst. We'll see if we can do something with it. Interesting. So we're up against Zafaga, presumably. Wind Guardians? Playing that? Yeah, if you say so. If it works, I suppose. Another Haguru. That gives us something to put in Raising next turn. Alright, I need something to help the top here. Let's discard the one that doesn't do anything in our hand. Yes! Attack of the Heavy Mobile. That's what we need. Fantastic. Okay, so now the Uko checks are basically just free value from this point forward. So any Cyborgs, Machinedramon, Tamers, that's what we're looking for. We have our hardest to find piece. Now we just need the rest of it. Alright, we have another... Oh, boy. Let's say we have another Cyborg. We did not pick up anything off of that Uko check, though. Definitely going to hold the Uko back and hope that we can find something with it. Supreme Connection. That's good to have. We'll happily pass turn back with that. Right, Guru dies. That's fine. Alright, let's set up our next draws. This started well. It is not going well now. Let's grab Ultimate, Analog, and Supreme Connection after. So whether they deal with the Uko or not, this gives us potential to get our next plays. So either they deal with the Uko, we don't have to draw, and then we can Ultimate Connection into Analog, or they do, or they leave the Uko behind. We push forward, draw the Ultimate Connection anyways, then get to check and grab the Analog. So we've got some. This should be a pretty safe turn. Oh my gosh. What in the world was that? Passing me 4 to go straight for a Medieval Gallant. That's a choice, sure. Absolutely bizarre. I didn't expect them to do that so aggressively, but if it works, it works. All right, let's push Haguru up. We're now going to be able to just hold back the Ultimate Connection, so we can just Haguru, The Guru effect draws the analog. I don't care about that. There we go. Let's go ahead and get analog out. If he checks even a couple of cyborgs from security, we've got a lot going for us right now. Megadramon would give us lethal, depending on what else we get off the top. Sure. Parasaurmon. Does not vortex. I think it said piercing. I guess not. Okay. That's fine. Well, that's not ideal. Okay, that's a little more ideal. Happy to see that. Now, it's worth noting they are threatening Zephaga Ace currently, so we do have to be careful of that. If we find a Metal Tyranno, that's perfect scenario, but when your Wind Guardians ban suspend. Sure. So he's just getting himself a blocker, I guess. Didn't deal with Haguru, so we can hopefully bait an attack with Haguru before... Oh, this also... Oh, that's right. It gets Vortex because of the arena and security. Okay. There's Megatramon too. Okay. There's Analog. He's not currently threatening lethal, right? So if I don't discard, I can set up the Memory Setter Analog Man. I get another turn of digging. I can put Haguru in raising. I guess Zephaga is potentially a problem here, but also not really, because it's just one unsuspend. Yeah, I'm just going to hold back. I'm doing the math. I don't think there should be any super clean way for him to kill us next turn. Not if we're just doing this. Let's see if I'm wrong. There shouldn't be much he can do on one memory that would kill us, so I'm hoping this will be enough. Oh, Supreme Connection again. There's Metal Tyranno. Oh, that's freaking perfect. That's exactly what we needed. Then we can bin Megadramon. Okay. We have... Is that all three Megadramon showing now? We have Chaos and Chaos X. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably game. Let's see if this all goes through the way it should. Don't care about the blocker. The blocker is going to get suspended down by Metal Tyranno, so I'm not worried about that. Now we are definitely going to do that. Machinedramon. Let's go ahead and get our extra memory resources. Just put our last few pieces we need in the trash. Let's put Metal Gray down there. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. Swing with Haguru. Okay. Yeah, this should be very over. What I can actually do, we have double Supreme Connection and double Machinedramon showing. So I can play the first Machinedramon for only one memory by adding the BT7 Metal Gray. It's actually not even for one, it's completely free. So we can just completely bait out any potential aces with this, while also winning if he has nothing. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to use Analog Man's effect. Draw. Tuck Supreme Connection. Yep, let's go ahead and tuck the Metal Gray. Baits out the medieval effect. Oh, it suspends it. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that was on me. That was my fault. That being said, I don't really care too much. Actually, that might be more of an inconvenience than I thought. So we have 3 cyborgs still in trash. So I need to get another one down, which I can do with this Megadramon. Okay. I forgot that it suspended and didn't just destroy. So what's funny is Megadramon, the unsuspend effect can actually delete my other machine to strip those sources to get the unsuspend that I need. So now that we've baited this out, let's go ahead and play the Megadramon. Magnamon effect, can talk, whatever. Let's go with Uko, because why not? Free memory gain, can't complain. So, okay, I think I know the line here. Let's see if I've done my math right. Force out the activation of Zafaga. Take him off of Puppetmon, while also giving ourselves bottom deck immunity. Here comes Zafaga, right on schedule. Takes away our unsuspend again. Goodness gracious. Right, well, they're doing a good job at keeping us pinned. However, we still have a lot that we can do with our turn, including getting a free Analog Man, since we'll gain Overflow 4 here. So that'll give us 1 extra redirect. Now we can also go into Chaosdramon X Antibody. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Alright. They did a good job of stymieing us. They had everything they needed to stop us for this particular turn. But I still don't know how they possibly win through all of this. Took away their last body. We're passing them at 2. They'll go to 3. Nah, we'll leave those there. We'll just tuck the 3rd copy of Megadramon. I mean, if they can beat this, then they absolutely deserve the win. He doesn't have a second body to suspend, so okay, I guess. Really going after that Machinedramon. What did he do to you? Sure. Oh my gosh. That's brutal. Even more value. Yeah, there is like no cards in the game that will stop this now. So, start of main we get to tuck something. When attacking we get to tuck something. We're already at 10. We get to add our can't be redirected effect because why not? We're just going to skip these. There's no reason to drop them. So we can. I mean, I guess we could have. We're probably tucking the Metal Greymon here because I mean, I guess we could have. We're probably tucking the Metal Greymon here because there's no reason not to. Just locks it up. Yeah, let's do the War Growl instead. Does he Paladin mode? I didn't even think about Paladin mode. Okay, not Paladin. Yeah, I don't care at all about that. That could have gone really poorly for me. Oh boy. All right, that's fine. So in doing that, he's also now given me the chance. So instead of the bottom two, we're going to detach any two. This will let us detach our Rush Metal Greymon. And doesn't really matter what else, but we can detach the Metal Tyranno, I suppose. Okay. Now we'll trash security when we unsuspend. What are the bottom two sources right now? Okay, don't want to detach those, so we will just prevent it from leaving. Chaosdramon's protection, so we keep the Oblivi. Detach the bottommost Megadramon since that has now been used up. We only have one security, it's detach Growl X. Check. You can unsuspend, but you cannot block me. Prevent from leaving again. We'll trash our bottommost Megadramon, of course. And that should be game. Wowza. Alright, well that was a lot. That was probably one of the most complicated board states I've had to play through. Unusual. They obviously gave us plenty of memory to play with, but playing through Double Medieval that's something. Alright, well, hopefully those games were entertaining for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me finally get to actually pilot Machinedramon a little bit. Deck is very complicated. If these games showed you guys anything, I hope it did at least demonstrate. It takes a lot of practice to get good with this deck. There are a lot of branching decision trees, about 1,000 things you have to keep in mind and things you have to play around. It's a hard deck, but it rewards practice. So if you guys are interested in getting better with Machinedramon, as always, of course, I have my Discord link in the description below. Feel free to hop in. Happy to give advice. If you have any questions or comments about the gameplay, feel free to leave that in the comments below. With that, I have been an avid herpetologist. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.